if there's a human subject or an animal subject or anything with eyes, I'll always focus on eyes just because that's obviously the most important thing of any subject. But if I'm shooting a watch, 9 times out of 10, I will focus on the logo. In this case, that logo is Grand Seiko. Those Grand Seikos that we're looking at are an SBGK 007 and an SBGK 009, part of Grand Seiko's Elegance collection. These watches are both powered by the 9S63 movement. They have a 72-hour power reserve, and they are manual wind to -3 to +5 seconds a day. They're both stainless steel 39mm cases, and their dials come in this ecru or charcoal gray. They're also both 30 meters water resistant, and the SBGK 009 has this cool stainless steel 9-link bracelet. So the first real camera actually wasn't even really a camera. It was an upside down reflection that could be seen, but there was no way to capture it. And that was called camera Obscura, or also known as a pinhole camera. And since physics have not changed, you can take a box, put a literal pinhole in it, and cut out a square on that same side. And as long as that hole is light tight, you'll be able to see an inverted and very blurry render of what that pinhole is taking in for light. I think camera Obscura is to cameras as sundials are to clocks. The foundation to it all, basically. The reason that we have a 72-hour power reserve, these beautifully built movements, and the most subtle but still detailed dials is because we started off small and built up. The aperture of a lens controls how much light is let in. The more light coming in, the harder it is to focus. Your area of focus could be very big, but when you let a ton of light in, it kind of shortens down into this razor thin plane that you're pushing and pulling back and forth trying to snap a photo when that focus plane lines up with your subject. And that's why when you see these street photographers or these wartime photographers, especially in the film era when there wasn't autofocus and stuff, they have these razor sharp photos and very blurry backgrounds, and it's such a demonstration of skill. I see the same with Grand Seiko and their Zaratsu polishing as that demonstration of skill. And now we're not really talking about inches and centimeters, we're talking about thousandths of a millimeter of tolerance. That perfectly sharp line between the hairline finishing and the mirror finish is a product of a master, or Takumi. I feel like those are people that are so good at their craft that when they actually do it in front of someone, it looks easy, it looks effortless, but it's really just because they're so tuned in and experienced with their craft. And I've been with photographers that will pull their camera out, crank it, focus it, and snap the photo before I even realized that there was a picture that should have been taken. I didn't even see it. And the reason they do it so fast and they have to be that skilled is because perfect pictures exist in milliseconds. And that's why you see incredible pictures of places that you might walk by every day and never take a second look at, because there are all these tiny nanoseconds that make great photographs. And it's the photographer's job to see that nanosecond, capture it, and move on. I'm not saying I can do that. I'm saying I try every day. So Grand Seiko to me feels like a balance between a digital image and an image shot on film. Their razor sharp lines and undistorted mirror polishing on their cases are handcrafted perfectly. And I feel like the parallel to that is of course digital. With painstakingly accurate colors, stunningly sharp lenses, no detail on a digital photo is left unattended. Film, on the other hand, is very rich with character. And that's how I see Grand Seiko's dials. They have texture, sometimes graininess to them, and they have different interpretations of light and color that's all being reflected back at you depending on how you move your wrist and the light around. I feel like those two play off each other perfectly. This perfect case is framing this very organic and character-y dial. I think a great photograph from a technical standpoint needs 3 things: correct exposure, correct focus, and a worthy subject. Grand Seiko, in my opinion, follow that same philosophy. Perfectly executed dials, flawless polishing, beautifully decorated movements, and by doing that, I think they created their own worthy subject, and a gallery of them at that.